Hello, ActiveSage here on the Sage channel, and I'm here today to show you guys an assortment of pyramids and these two other little buildings, as well as some shapes I've been noticing while using the lovely little slope blocks that they have in this game, thanks to the fact that you can put blocks inside of blocks. And to demonstrate that, I'm really quickly going to go ahead and lay out a slight diagonal line here, so we can start building on it, and what we're going to use are these slope blocks here, and you see I got it turned up on its side, and we can go ahead and tweak these around, holding Alt or even pressing Z, and then releasing Z, it'll stay, so we can keep placing these inside. And see, now I'm getting these sort of like little triangles pointing down into them, almost diamond-esque in a way, but really, they're triangles. They're pretty damn cool, and I found that if we were to go ahead and keep building, and I'm going to hold Alt and right-click on that center block there, I found that if I build them in some slightly different ways, I'll even get a proper diamond shape if I'm doing this right. Let's see, did I do this right? To my plan? Let's see, I think I might have botched it. We shall find out momentarily. If I have, I think I did. Oh, nope, I didn't. There we go. So there we go. For a second there, I was sort of like, hey, did I do it wrong? No, I didn't actually. So there we go. We're actually getting a diamond shape now. And if we were to continue making this pattern go up, you see now we have this diamond shape here. I'm tracing the edges of it. So you can see we have 3 diamonds there. If we were to keep doing that, we'd get more and more stuff. So those are the 2 different types. The one that had the piece stuck into it like such as that, and then the one that actually is a diamond right there. So I've been working with those and sort of using them to make the edges and sides of stuff because they sort of look like geometric shapes. They're just interesting, I find them. And also I found that with the ones that are just a triangle, look at this. If you look right here, sort of at the center point where I'm aiming, it almost looks like a star with these bits shooting off like that, which I found was kind of cool. And as I buzz around this, it's a little hard to see here. In the shade, it's next to impossible to see anything but just, well, actually, you can sort of see the stars if you look at the right spot. But right here, I found it best with the shadows hitting it. It really seems to pop out. So you get these like star patterns and stuff you otherwise couldn't build, and they're all diagonal and fairly interesting. And of course, if we come up here, we have those larger diamonds. And then once we go up to the top, all those diamonds right around here, and it almost looks like a sound booth thing. A lot of this actually reminds me of sort of like 70s architecture when they started working with concrete a lot. You ended up with a lot of strange shapes. And this little building I've been buzzing around, by the way, is structurally sound. So if I was to go ahead and press in, you'll actually see it's all green or a little bit of yellow. And inside it is the same too, even though it's got a lot of empty space. Shutting that off because it kills my frame rate. Before we go over the pyramids, I'm going to go over to this little thing right here. And this is sort of an experiment using these blocks to do diagonals that actually look square. So right here, obviously, this is actually made with these. So even though it looks like I just took a single block and put it down, obviously that wasn't the case. I was experimenting with that, experimenting with some more sharp edges shooting in. A lot of very interesting stuff you can do. I like it a lot. And also, when one of those smaller, more recent updates, they added this little guy. So now you can go ahead and have higher arches if you just want a single pillar heading up the stuff, which is pretty cool. This is sort of like a burial ground, or it would lead down into a tomb or something, or almost reminds me of a ziggurat or something. I don't know, but it was an interesting little shape. I felt like I just had to share. Right down the middle, you can see we have more of these slanted blocks that almost form another type of diamond shape. And then down here, actually, beneath these, there's not actually anything there. That's where if I was building more, I would have it continue on all the way down, and there'd be a maze of underground tunnels. Also, I used these, by the way, oh, not those, these right here, rotated them on their sides, and held Alt to place them on top here to give you a little bit of a railing. That way I didn't have to use the higher railing, which sometimes looks a bit silly. This is clearly far too low to be really safe, but a lot of those other railings feel far too high. Anyway, that's enough of these smaller structures. We're going to go ahead and move on to the actual pyramids now, and I just thought it would be cool to see a whole pyramid made with these diamond shapes on the side. So as I fly up, you'll notice that we have 1,000,000,001 of these sort of diamond shapes cut into the thing. It's a very strange sight. It's almost like, I don't know, it's just very odd. Something about it catches me off guard. I love it. It looks like soundproofing almost, or again, the 70s architecture, but it's such a strange thing to see a whole pyramid built with this. It's unfortunate that we don't have a small, like, really, really thin piece made of stone that I could put between that point and that point to fill in this little gap right here. That way we wouldn't have the jaggedies on the edges here, but still, it's pretty damn interesting to look at nonetheless. Moving on from this one, we do have more pyramids where I changed the pattern up. This one, as you might guess, will be the one that sort of forms that star shape. So as we buzz over here, and there we go. You just look straight ahead and don't think about it too much, and all of a sudden I sort of end up seeing this big star shape where, again, that's the center, and it has its arms of the star shooting off in these different directions. I find it interesting to see the whole thing built like this. I was originally thinking maybe just building a whole wall, but I figured, you know what, let's just keep up with the whole pyramid thing and just make different types of pyramids. And there, for half a second, in this bright light, you really just cannot see that shape at all that I was just pointing out. It's just like it just vanishes for me, and I just see all these squares or cut-ins, and some of these even look like they're bumping out at you sometimes, I find. It's very odd how the lighting plays, even though I think it's actually all correct. And then here you can definitely see the stars again, as well as just standard triangles pushing inwards. Pretty cool stuff. I like it a lot. It's very, very odd. And then moving on from this one, we have that pyramid over there, which is a strange sight. It's basically the same exact structure, just instead of having the slants with a little bit extra to them like that, and like, oh, no, wrong button. Oh, there it was. Like that. I just have these single slants all the way up and down them, and it sort of makes this weird shape moving in. And almost actually, when you're looking at it, it looks like it's bumping out towards you or pushing in. If you follow this dark edge right here along, if you sort of let your eyes just relax, it almost looks like this whole thing is being pushed inwards, as if it's just a big, as if it's a corner of a room or something. There's just a tiny box sitting in the corner. But of course, that's not the case. It is just a, well, it's pretty much a flat plane just with all these little things carved into it a little bit. It's a pretty cool thing. I'll fly around it, that way you can get a view from all the different sides of it, see it in the dark and in the light and whatnot. It's pretty simple and straightforward, but I find it interesting nonetheless. Something I could have built in Space Engineers, actually, this one here, but I never did, and well, I've built similar stuff, but nothing quite like this, and of course in Space Engineers, I would have been trying to smooth out these edges here, and I wouldn't have probably left them square. But yeah, like that. And then over here we have something that I ended up actually doing a few times on this one by accident. I couldn't even figure out how I did it, and it just kept happening though. And you'll see here that it's actually a spiraling pattern, where it starts up there, goes down, loops around. I'm trying to trace it. I'll just stop and let you do you move your own eyes to look at it. But it does create a spiraling pattern that moves down towards the center, which is a pretty cool effect. And then also at the top, I do have it just stopping right here as if that was a starting point. And then each side is the same as if I was just rotating the whole thing around. Pretty cool stuff. I like it a lot. Now, unfortunately, the reason I was showing you structural integrity on those is because I can show you structural integrity on these. So I've pressed in. There you go. You can see the whole thing is green. If we fly beneath the Earth really quickly, I think I have to go into spectator mode. There we go. If we fly beneath the Earth, you'll see that we have, well, for one, a small spatch here. Splotch, whatever you want to call it. An area here was just a little tiny, almost like a mini cave now, because it's not touching the ground. We have our frame rate has just dropped to 3. But you can see that we do have a few splotches there that are not actually physically set, or not actually turned white, which means they're part of the ground. They're not going to crack or crumble. Now that doesn't look bad though, considering the whole thing is green, right? Well, the thing is, if we were to go ahead and turn this back on and lag our way through here, you can see it's turning yellow and orange and red. It's not working like a proper pyramid too much, because right in the center of it is all these blocks in here, even though you can't even tell. Right in the center, in the very middle, all those blocks would just explode and shatter under the whole thing's weight. And I figure that's probably actually realistic, considering this is supposed to be a, cobble construct. It's not like the actual pyramids in Egypt, where they're made out of huge solid stones. This whole thing is made of little tiny stones held together by mortar, so they might slip and slide, and I would almost expect this middle to start falling as this spot right here burst outwards, as the pressure pushes down and pushes all those stones around, and it would just lose its shape and the whole thing would come crumbling down. Now, of course, you probably want to see that, so what I'm going to do is go ahead and position our camera. Which one shall we watch collapse? Let's watch this one. It might be the most interesting, so we're going to position our camera right here. We're going to do a quick save, and I'm going to reload this, and really quickly as it loads in, be spamming F8 to get back to this spectator view right here, and hopefully see this building collapse as it reloads in, well, with structural integrity on. Alrighty, so there we go. It just reloaded, and please keep in mind this game is early access. The physics system is not using all of the CPUs yet, so we can expect a crash. But let's just hope that we'll actually see something before that happens, because right now what's happening, and I don't really dare move. Shall we try to move forward? I've pressed W. Yeah, you can see it's very laggy. So what's happening right now is the inside of the building is just crumbling. It's falling apart beneath everything. Not really anything to see, because you can't see through all the blocks like if you fly inside that like you can in Space Engineers, but hopefully if it continues to break, we'll actually see it start to collapse on the outside, or at least something interesting happening. But keep in mind, there are a bunch of pyramids on this map. There's a good chance we will see nothing. So just in case nothing actually does happen, and the game does just crash because it is early days, thank you a bunch for watching, and I shall see you guys next time.